Work hard keeps you busy. Work smart sets you free. Brian Tracy, a man who spent decades studying success, decoding millionaire patterns, teaching millions how to reach their goals. He admitted something most people spend their entire lives never realizing. Working more won't make you rich. He spent years believing the path was simple. More hours, more sweat, more sacrifice, closer to financial freedom, up at 5 in the morning, working until midnight, 16 hours a day, every single day, and stayed poor. Not broke, not miserable, but poor in the way that hurts most. That type of silent poverty where you work non-stop, but money never sticks. Where you push yourself to the limit, but your bank account doesn't reflect it. Where you fall asleep exhausted, but wake up without security. This is the kind of poverty that doesn't show up in statistics. It's invisible, but it eats you from the inside. Brian Tracy discovered something that changed everything. And it wasn't working more. It was thinking differently. Because effort without direction isn't productivity. It's just exhaustion disguised as progress. Have you noticed how some people work all day and can barely pay their bills, while others work a few hours and build fortunes? It's not luck. It's not privilege. They operate with a completely different mental system. The poor try to solve lack of money with work. The rich solve it with strategy. And this difference, this tiny mental difference, separates those who age tired from those who build wealth in silence. Imagine for a second you're trying to fill a broken bucket. You work all day carrying water. Back and forth, back and forth. Your shoulders ache, your hands bleed, but the bucket never fills, and you don't understand why. The answer isn't carrying more water, it's fixing the hole. But nobody taught you to look at the hole. They taught you to carry faster. Brian Tracy spent years carrying water, until he stopped, looked at the bucket, and saw the hole. He realized it wasn't about hours worked. It was about how his mind processed money, opportunities, decisions. It was about the invisible patterns commanding his choices without him noticing. Because here's the truth. You don't act according to what you want. You act according to what you believe is possible for you. And if deep down, in the most hidden part of your mind, there's a belief that money is scarce, that you need to fight for every dollar, that wealth isn't for people like you, then it doesn't matter how many hours you work. You'll sabotage your own success. Let me tell you a story. There was a man living in a small village. He was a woodcutter. Up before sunrise, cutting wood until sunset. His hands were calloused, his back ached. But he continued, because that was honest work, right? One day, a traveler passed through the village and saw the woodcutter sweating, cutting logs with a dull axe. The blade barely penetrated the wood. Every strike was immense effort. The traveler asked, "Why don't you sharpen the axe?" The woodcutter, without stopping, replied breathlessly, "I don't have time for that. I'm too busy cutting wood." Have you stopped to think how many times you are that woodcutter? How many times are you so busy working that you don't stop to think if what you're doing actually works? Brian Tracy was that woodcutter. And most people are. Because we were taught that hard work is the answer. That effort is virtue. That if you're not suffering, you're not earning it. But look around. Those who work most have the least. And those who have most seem to work less. It's not injustice, it's system. There's a fundamental difference between working in survival and working in wealth. Those who work in survival trade time for money. Those who work in wealth multiply value with systems. Those who work in survival solve today's problem. Those who work in wealth build structures that solve tomorrow's problems. Those who work in survival ask, how do I earn more? Those who work in wealth ask, how do I create more value? And Brian Tracy realized he was stuck in the first mode, running on the wheel, like a hamster that runs faster but stays in the same place. He discovered the shift doesn't happen when you work more. It happens when you reprogram how your mind sees money, opportunities, and your own worth. Because as long as you believe you need to suffer to deserve, you'll attract situations that confirm it. As long as you believe money is limited, you'll compete instead of create. As long as you believe it's not for you, you'll quit before you harvest. These beliefs are like invisible codes running in the background of your mind. You don't see them, but they command everything. Your habits, your decisions, your reactions, and worst of all, you think it's your personality. But it's not. They're just programs you inherited. From your family, from society, from financial traumas you lived, from phrases you heard as a child. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are dishonest. You have to grind hard to get anything. Each phrase planted a seed, and those seeds became roots. And those roots keep you in place. Brian Tracy spent years studying millionaires, and you know what he discovered they all had in common? It wasn't luck. It wasn't IQ. It wasn't hard work. It was a specific set of beliefs about themselves and the world, a particular way of processing opportunities, a mindset that saw abundance where others saw scarcity. He called it the prosperity mindset, and he realized that until he installed it in himself, he'd keep working 16 hours a day and staying poor. Because you can have the best strategy in the world, the best business plan, the best opportunity. But if your mind is programmed for scarcity, you'll self-sabotage. You'll let the opportunity pass. You'll quit at the first obstacle. You'll choose security over growth. And you won't even notice, because everything will seem rational. It'll seem like you're being realistic, prudent, sensible, but actually, you're just obeying the code. You know that strange feeling when you're close to achieving something big, and suddenly you do something that sabotages everything? Show up late to an important meeting. Forget to send that crucial email. Argue with someone who could help you. It's not bad luck. It's the code running. It's your mind pulling you back to the place where it thinks you belong. Psychologists call this the internal thermostat. You have a level of wealth, success, and happiness that your mind thinks is your place. And whenever you try to go beyond, the thermostat pulls you back, like when you turn up the air conditioner temperature, but it keeps cooling because it's programmed for 60 degrees. Doesn't matter how high you turn the dial, it'll bring you back, and you spend your life thinking the problem is external, that it's the economy, that it's the government, that it's luck, that it's your boss, that you didn't have opportunities. But the real problem is inside, in the code, in the invisible programming. Brian Tracy realized this and did something radical. He stopped working more and started reprogramming his mind. If you felt a chill just now, if something inside you recognized this truth, hit that like button, because it means you're ready to see what most people never will. He started with something simple but powerful. Daily declarations. Specific affirmations that reprogrammed his beliefs about money, success, and worthiness. It wasn't empty motivational talk. It was applied neuroscience. Because every time you repeat an idea with emotion and conviction, you create new neural pathways. You literally rebuild your brain. And over time, what once seemed impossible becomes natural. But here's a crucial detail people don't understand. There's no point repeating, "I am rich," while your mind screams, "lie," inside. There's no point memorizing pretty phrases if you don't reprogram the deep beliefs. It's like trying to install new software on a computer with viruses. The system will reject it. First, you need to clean. Identify the limiting beliefs. Understand where they came from. Deactivate the old code. Only then do you install the new one. And Brian Tracy did exactly that. He mapped his beliefs, questioned each one, and replaced those that limited him with ones that expanded him. Instead of "money is scarce," he installed "abundance is the natural state of the universe." Instead of "I need to suffer to deserve," he installed "I create value and am rewarded proportionally." Instead of "I'm not good enough," he installed "I'm capable of learning anything I need." And you know what happened? Everything changed. Not overnight, not with magic, but it changed. Because when you change your beliefs, you change your actions. When you change your actions, you change your results. And when you change your results, you confirm the new beliefs. It becomes a cycle, but this time a virtuous one. He started seeing opportunities where he once saw obstacles, started creating systems where he once only saw tasks, started multiplying value where he once only traded time. And most importantly, he stopped working 16 hours a day. Not because he got lazy, but because he learned that productivity isn't about quantity of hours. It's about quality of decisions. One strategic decision can be worth more than 1,000 hours of manual labor. And you only make strategic decisions when your mind is programmed to see strategically. Now let me ask you an honest question. Are you working hard and seeing little result? Do you feel like you try harder than others, but stay in the same place? Are you afraid that 10 years from now, you'll still be in this same struggle? If the answer is yes, you're not alone. Millions of people live like this, trapped in a cycle that seems to have no exit. But the exit exists. It's just not where you think. It's not in working more. It's not in another course. It's not in another magical opportunity. It's in reprogramming your mind's operating system. Because as long as the scarcity code is running, you'll keep sabotaging your own success without even noticing. There's an ancient story about a king who lived tormented. He had everything: wealth, power, armies, palaces, but he had no peace. So he called the oldest sage in the kingdom and asked, "What do I need to do to find peace?" The sage looked at him and said, "Find a truly happy man. Take his shirt and wear it for one day." The king sent his soldiers throughout the entire kingdom. They searched for months, cities, towns, mountains, until they found him. A man sitting under a tree, smiling, radiating peace. The soldiers approached. "Are you happy?" "Yes," he answered, serene. "Then we need your shirt." King's orders. The man gave a light laugh, opened his arms. He wasn't wearing a shirt. The happiness the king searched for couldn't be worn. It had to be built from within. And it's exactly like that with wealth. You don't wear wealth. You don't borrow it. You don't copy it. You build it from the inside out, reprogramming the code. Brian Tracy understood this when he stopped chasing money and started building the mindset that attracts money. Because money isn't the goal, it's the consequence. It's the consequence of creating value, of making strategic decisions, of operating with a mental system that sees abundance. And he discovered something fascinating. There are specific beliefs that all wealthy people share. They're not mystical secrets. They're mental patterns. 7 fundamental beliefs. 7 codes that, when activated, completely transform how you see and interact with money. He called these beliefs the 7 keys of the millionaire mindset. And no, this isn't about repeating empty phrases in the mirror. It's about deep reprogramming, about installing a new operating system. The first key is the most counterintuitive of all. I deserve prosperity without needing to suffer for it. Sounds simple, right? But go deep and ask yourself, do you really believe this? Or do you think you need to grind, sweat, sacrifice, almost die, to deserve something good? Because if you believe the second option, you'll unconsciously create situations that confirm it. You'll work until you destroy yourself. And even when you get money, you'll sabotage it somehow. Because deep down, you don't feel you deserve it. It's like those people who win the lottery and go broke in 2 years. Everyone thinks it's stupidity, but it's not. It's the mental thermostat pulling them back to the place where they think they belong. The second key destroys one of the biggest lies they taught you. Abundance is the natural state of the universe. Look around. How many leaves on a tree? How many grains of sand on a beach? How many stars in the sky? Nature doesn't operate with scarcity. It operates with absurd excess. But they taught you everything is limited. That if someone wins, another loses. That the pie is small, and you need to fight for your slice. That's poverty mentality disguised as realism. Because as long as you believe you need to compete for the little that exists, you'll never create the new. You'll never multiply. You'll just redistribute crumbs. The rich don't fight for slices. They bake bigger pies. The third key separates those who dream from those who achieve. I am responsible for my results. It's not blame. It's power. Because when you take total responsibility, you recover control. When you blame the system, the economy, the government, the boss, you become a victim. And victims have no power. But when you look in the mirror and say, if it's like this, it's because I allowed it, consciously or unconsciously, then you can change. Sounds heavy? It is, but it's liberating. Because it means if you created this situation, you can create a different one. Here's some comic relief, because this is getting intense. Some people even blame traffic for their own failure. Oh, I was going to be an entrepreneur, but the traffic here is too bad. Man, Steve Jobs built Apple in a garage. His commute was literally 0 meters. It's not about where you are, it's about what you do with where you are. The fourth key is about time. I value my time more than my money. You know that saying, time is money? It's a lie. Time is infinitely more valuable than money. Because you can earn more money. But you can't earn more time. And as long as you trade time for money linearly, you'll stay trapped. Because your day has limits. 24 hours. You can work 16. But you can't work 30. So there's a ceiling, a physical limit to how much you can earn. The rich understand this. That's why they create systems. Leverage. Ways to multiply value without multiplying hours. They work less, but strategically, and earn more. Meanwhile, the poor take pride in working more hours, as if that's a badge of honor, when actually, it's just a sign they haven't learned to play the right game yet. The fifth key is about identity. I am someone who creates value. Notice the difference. I need to make money versus I create value and am rewarded. The first is scarcity mentality. You're begging, needing, dependent. The second is abundance mentality. You're offering, creating, contributing. And people feel this difference energetically, subconsciously. When you operate from need, you repel, because nobody wants to carry the weight of your scarcity. But when you operate from contribution, you attract, because everyone wants value. Brian Tracy discovered that when he shifted his identity from man who needs to make money to man who creates value for the world, everything changed. Opportunities came. The right people appeared. Money flowed. The sixth key is about learning. I invest in myself before anything else. The poor spend first and invest later, if there's any left. The rich invest first and spend later, if they want to. And the best investment that exists isn't real estate. It's not stocks. It's not cryptocurrency. It's you, your knowledge, your skills, your mindset. Because everything can be taken from you, except what you learned, except who you became. You can lose everything and rebuild if you have the knowledge, if you have the mindset. But if you have everything and don't have knowledge or mindset, it's a matter of time until you lose it. That's why there are so many heirs who go broke, so many lucky people who return to poverty, because the money came, but the mindset didn't keep up. And the seventh key, this is the most powerful one. I persist until I transform the impossible into inevitable. It's not stupid stubbornness. It's strategic persistence. It's knowing that every great result requires a period of invisibility, a time where you're planting and nobody sees, a moment where you're building and everyone doubts. The weak quit in this phase because they don't see immediate results, because external pressure is strong, because internal doubt whispers, maybe you're not capable. But those who win are simply those who didn't stop. Not because they're special, not because they're smarter, but because they decided quitting wasn't an option. And there's something curious. The universe tests you, puts obstacles, not to knock you down, but to make sure you really want it. It's like that joke, God, give me patience. And God sends situations that require patience. Because He doesn't give it. He develops it. You don't receive confidence. You build it by facing your fears. You don't receive wealth. You build it by developing your mindset. And these 7 keys are exactly that. Construction tools. But here's the naked truth. Just knowing the keys changes nothing. You can read about them, agree intellectually, even find them beautiful. But if you don't install this in the system, if you don't practice daily, if you don't truly reprogram, you'll keep running the old code. It's like knowing the cake recipe but never making it. You don't get less hungry just because you know the recipe. Brian Tracy created a specific method: daily declarations, reprogramming practices, exercises that, when done consistently, literally reformat your brain. It's not magic, it's neuroplasticity. Your brain changes according to what you practice. If you practice scarcity, you become an expert in scarcity. If you practice abundance, you become an expert in abundance. Simple as that. But most people never do it, because they prefer to believe the problem is external, that it's the government, that it's the economy, that it's luck, because admitting the problem is internal scares them. But it also liberates, because if the problem is inside, the solution is too. Have you stopped to think that maybe, just maybe, you have all the necessary potential, but you're operating with outdated software? That maybe you don't need to be someone else. You just need to reprogram who you already are? If you feel that despite your efforts, you still can't achieve stability, you might not realize your own mind is holding you back. This scarcity mentality could be costing you years of your life and growth opportunities. The 7 keys bring daily practices that reprogram your mind and unlock your potential. They're not empty phrases, they're specific exercises based on neuroscience and the mental patterns of the world's most successful people. Declarations you repeat with intention. Practices you integrate into your routine. A complete method that rebuilds your relationship with money, work, and worthiness. You can keep working hard with the dull axe. Or you can stop for 2 minutes, sharpen the blade, and multiply your results. The choice was always yours. But now you know there is a choice. Brian Tracy worked 16 hours a day and stayed poor, until he stopped working more and started thinking differently. He's not asking you to work less. He's challenging you to work right, with strategy, with mindset, with tools that actually work. And if you feel a tightness in your chest right now, if something inside you is screaming, "I need this," then you already know the next step. The 7 keys are available: the complete method, the daily practices, everything Brian Tracy distilled from decades studying millionaires and transforming lives. It's in the link in the description. You can ignore it. You can stay on the wheel. You can wait for something to magically change. Or you can make the decision that will divide your life into before and after. It's not about having more money. It's about becoming the person who naturally attracts money. It's not about working more. It's about operating with a mental system that multiplies results. It's not about luck. It's about code. And you have the power to rewrite yours. Let me ask you one final question. 5 years from now, do you want to look back and see you continued in the same struggle? Or do you want to see you made the decision that changed everything? Because time will pass anyway. Life will continue. 5 years from now, you'll be 5 years older. The only difference is, will you have evolved or just aged? The initiate has nothing more to say. The message has been delivered. The seed has been planted. Now it's up to you. This is the initiate. See you in the next video.